Live reaction right now. Republican Congressman Jim Banks from Indiana is here. He's a member of the House Armed Services and Veteran Affairs Committees. Good morning, Congressman Banks.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
Good to have you on. I hear a lot of Democrats this morning saying, hold on a second, this is exactly what Kim wants. He wants the prestige and the stature of being on the same stage, the same level as the U.S. president, and this is a mistake.
Well, I too remain a critic of and very skeptical of KJU. But aside from that, the concession that KJU is making and wanting to meet with the American president is a concession that everything that Donald Trump has done since January 20th of 2017 has worked to get us to this point. Our ultimate goal is the denuclearization and the dismantling of the nuclear program in Korea, and if some talks along the way can lead us in that direction, that's a good thing, not just for America, but for the world.
What do you say to Marco Rubio, though, a fellow Republican, as you just heard from John Roberts? Marco Rubio is saying, look, you know, Kim Jong-un will sit down, he'll talk and talk and talk, but he'll never agree to anything substantive. And then the U.S. president will walk away empty-handed, and Kim will say, look, I tried, do away with the sanctions.
I don't know that I disagree with Senator Rubio on that note. And again, I remain very skeptical that these talks might lead anywhere at all. But at the end of the day, they're a concession that the diplomatic isolation that President Trump and the sanctions that we passed in this Congress have led to have gone a long way to putting pressure on North Korea and Kim Jong-un to come to this point where he wants to sit down and talk to begin with. So we'll see where it goes. I'm skeptical that there ever will be a real sit-down chat between our president and KJU, but the very fact that KJU wants to have those discussions means that we're on the right track, and the diplomatic isolation that we've led them to has been a healthy part of that process. I
hear your skepticism, Congressman, and you've made that point. I wonder, though, you said a moment ago that the president gets great credit for what he's done since January 20th of 2017. There were so many skeptics saying, why is he on Twitter? Why is he giving a nickname of Little Kim and Little Rocket Man and all of that? This is going to start World War III. It seems like he's been vindicated in the short term, but also, do you think this is a sign that the president, his critics don't get that he's a disruptor? And after Democratic and Republican presidents doing the same thing over and over and making almost no progress with North Korea, that maybe a fresh approach is going to do something here?
Well, you got to go back to the last administration. The fact that President Obama and his administration largely ignored North Korea and their buildup of nuclear weapons, of intercontinental ballistic missile capabilities that could reach States or many of our allies. The very fact that the last president ignored what was going on in North Korea, and from day one this president has put pressure on North Korea in the opposite direction. The president has largely been vindicated, but the sanctions that this Congress has passed as well has helped lead the way to where we are today, where KJU has come out and conceding that the diplomatic isolation, these tough sanctions on North Korea put enough pressure on them to lead us to this point should be welcomed.
Pardon me, I have 1 quick minute left, and so we're talking about the sanctions, but let's add the tariffs as well, which the president is largely trying to aim at China. They play a key role, obviously, in these negotiations with North Korea. You come from a Rust Belt state. Where do you think the tariffs play in here as a negotiating tactic that maybe the president pulls them back if China helps here?
I hope that's the case. These tariffs at the end of the day can be very damaging to districts like my district, even though we have a large steel economic sector in Indiana. We also have a lot of manufacturing jobs, agriculture that will be severely impacted by a potential trade war. But it has occurred to me that there might be a larger game of chess playing out here, that this could be targeted at China. But at the end of the day, we need China's help to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish in North Korea with that ultimate goal of dismantling North Korea's nuclear program.
All right. Congressman Jim Banks, we hope you have a good weekend. We appreciate you bringing your insight.